Hey guys, welcome back, and I am going to tell you about why I wholesale and rehab properties, what that means for my business, what that means for my wealth accumulation, and how you can take some of my philosophies and implement it in your business right now. All right, guys, so listen, I want to be able to talk to you about some of my business philosophies, and so in hopes that you guys can actually align my business philosophies with yours and how that can ultimately help you in business to create a lot of money, but also create a lot of wealth. Come on, that's what we're really in it for, right? No one wants a high-paying job, and if you have a business that is just essentially paying you a lot of money, but you have to work your face off and you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, you just have a high-paying job regardless of you being the founder, president, CEO, or otherwise. So, why do I wholesale properties and rehab properties? Well, first and foremost, I look at wholesaling as a big cash cow. I get asked all the time, why don't I focus more on buying rental properties? And I can tell you right now, quite honestly, it's because I've been selfish. I like the income of cash that it brings me. Now, as I am newly married and expecting my first child on the way, I am reframing my thinking, but it doesn't change the philosophy I have about wholesaling. Wholesaling properties, just like in many other industries, is an ATM for me. It is something that I can create quick cash, obviously pays my bills and makes me a ton of money, which is great. There is little to no risk, and I can do many of them a month, and so I can have a volume play. The reason why that's important for me is because now that I'm in a place for thinking long term, then I can actually use that cash to invest in long-term wealth. Now, for some, that's going to be rental properties, and that would be what I encourage you to be investing for long-term wealth is rental properties. But for others, it could be different investment strategies. That is going to be your choice. But the philosophy remains the same. Find the strategy, find the technique, find the vertical, let's call it, that you can go create a ton of income fast, a ton of profit, a ton of revenue fast. Use that revenue, use that income to then take and go invest in longer term, safer investments. This is why I really prioritize wholesaling. Not to mention, it is not 100% risk-free, but very close to relative to rehabbing and flipping. Now, I do both, and this is why I wanted to address both on here. Most of you guys know me as a real estate investor, although I do have 7 different businesses that I run, the primary one being real estate investing. Now, why would I wholesale versus flip more properties? Well, on TV, they make $1 bajillion and there's no expenses and all that money goes in your pocket. Why would you ever settle for a $10,000 or $15,000 wholesale fee? Well, let's be clear. First of all, those shows aren't real. Let me take a step back. Those shows are real. They don't show all of the costs that go into these deals. So I think they somewhat fabricate kind of the profitability of these flips. Now, with that said, the reason why I still love wholesaling and in combination with rehabbing is because wholesaling has very little risk. I mentioned that earlier. I like the vertical because besides maybe some marketing expenditure, essentially, I don't actually have much risk at all. In fact, it's quite literally a marketing and sales business, and just like many other ventures out there, that vertical that marketing and sales is the most important part of any vertical, right? Whether it's wholesaling properties or you're flipping cards or you're selling couches or you're building a, agency, you need marketing and sales. And so that is essentially what wholesaling is in the real estate space, just focuses on marketing and sales. And that way I have no risk and I can assign my contracts over to my buyers and it is what it is. Now, flipping I like because you can most likely make bigger profit margins. So for example, we are rehabbing a condo right now, a small little price point. I think we bought it for about 110-ish, something of that nature. And we're gonna exit for about 170 to 175 with only putting $20,000 into it. Now, I give you those numbers to help you realize I probably would have wholesaled the property for about a $10,000 wholesale fee. Essentially, after you wash everything out, it looks like we're gonna be netting, and we have yet to sell it and close it, but essentially I'm gonna be 2.5xing that type of return. We should net, after all costs are taken out, about $25,000 on that little condo. That is a good reason to flip that property. Now, the next component in why I decided to shoot this video, then someone would say, well, why didn't you ultimately just hold that as a good buy and hold condo? Well, because per my own philosophy on the building the net worth, the revenue for that specific model and the rents given for that model didn't really make that a great, sexy buy and hold condo. And so obviously when you're looking at making roughly $100 a month in net profit after taxes, etc., and all other costs come out, $100 a month based around rents in that area versus a $25,000 payday, I'd rather take the payday and invest that money into a better performing asset. Now again, this is really philosophical. I'm not trying to just go a deep dive into real estate. This is true on all different verticals, right? Essentially, I have an ATM machine, which is the wholesaling. I then have a bigger profit margin deal, which is going to be the rehabbing, and then I have my wealth building. And that's how I would approach business as a whole. I'd be looking for where can I create income fast, although maybe a little bit smaller, but creating good income. So by the time I can go create bigger pops or have bigger equity pops or profit pops like a rehab, I can take that money and I can invest that into some level of a wealth building asset. I would encourage you to keep it within real estate, but obviously stocks and cryptocurrencies, and there's just a bunch of different stuff out there that you can invest your money into. So this is the truth of why I continue to wholesale and rehab flip, although we all know that real estate is the best wealth building asset. I am not heavily going there yet because the deals that we're currently getting continue to pay out massive cash flow, as well as I get the big paydays with the rehab flips, and then I can put it into long-term wealth investing. And that is a great reason to run a three-pronged business, so you have multiple exit strategies. For those of you in different verticals, what I would tell you, think through how you can do this. Where are maybe the bolt-on businesses that can create revenue for you that is not part of your main business, such as in real estate, title company, being a part owner of a title company, I can create a monthly dividend check that brings in more revenue. So when those bigger pops come, I don't have to wait for the bigger pops to pay myself. I can reinvest that. Again, just giving you ideas to think through what to do in your own space, your own vertical. But in real estate, I will never stop wholesaling. I will never stop flipping, because that cash is an ATM for me to ultimately heavily be in the asset game and potentially go really large into 100 unit complexes, etc. So hopefully you like this. Smash the like button if you like this. If you have any questions about more real estate, ask below, but also you can go to thescienceofflipping.com. If you have questions that you would like me to answer or talk to you about your strategy, what you're doing, the marketing, the wholesaling, the rehab, whatever it is, I'm happy to answer those questions on a strategy session. You just have to book a call with me. So go to thescienceofflipping.com. You and I can have a 15-20 minute strategy session call, and we can take it from there. Otherwise, hit subscribe. I hope you guys are well and safe. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.